In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.
I wasn't there.
What?
I knew that 3 minutes ago. Like, I sat down at the computer before I sent you the link and made that, and it is my favorite.
It takes really little effort to be something really aesthetically special online.
I think
the more people realize how little effort it takes, the quicker they will be to join, I think.
That is like one of my main philosophies of making, like, I make little promos and stuff, but it's just like you just do some like consistent stuff and just throw in other people's work in the middle of it.
Smarter, not harder, baby.
Steal other people's work and take credit for it. Welcome everybody that are here tonight. We are diving into some deep, serious stuff today because I don't do enough of that, and I think I should. And I'm very uneducated on topics, but I am very interested in this one. So I brought my friend Bree. What's up, Bree?
Hey, babe.
Hey, babe. So let's give a little history of how me and Bree know each other. I used to sneak into her window.
My roommates were like, "You're a pothead," and so like you were like, "Oh, I'm not coming through the front door anymore," and you came through my bathroom window, and I started playing thunderstorm noise like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, so that when you came in, it was like more of an effect. And that's like the PG version. I this afternoon told our true friendship story, which is actually quite controversial, but you're a fucking ride or die. Like you knew more shit I was into than my literal roommates, and you were like, you went so hard for me, and I'll never forget it. So like,
at a certain point we had to like team up against them just because I wanted to come to your house.
Like, us against the world, if we're being honest.
Yeah, fuck everybody. But
fuck everyone, yeah.
That being said, me and Bree are friends. I bring Bree here to talk about what we're going to talk about. Let's actually introduce what we're going to talk about. The Elaine. No, this is my first question. How do you say her name?
Elaine.
Elaine?
Yeah, and like I was saying Elaine like for the month leading up to it, and then her lawyers like made it like a very proper thing for everyone to understand the true pronunciation of her name. So it's Elaine.
It just, my brain is just like Ghislaine.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's Elaine. I dropped my cat.
Okay, all right. So Elaine Maxwell trial. And you were kind of, and this is like something I want to touch right off the top because it's everyone's questions. It was my question. You were like on scene for this, right? But you weren't in the courtroom.
Correct. Well, so I could have been in the courtroom. I was in an overflow room. Every time I could have been in the actual courtroom, I decided not to because I did not want to breathe in the same air as her.
Love that.
Yeah, I've been in the courtroom for other high-profile sex crime cases, and it doesn't feel good. Like when you get home, you feel like you've been possessed. So I wanted to protect my energy. I knew it was going to be a long month, and it really was. So I was in the overflow room in the same courthouse, just not the same courtroom. Was in the elevator with her family, with her lawyers, but never in the same room as her because
that's a good move. You don't want that witch all over you because you don't want that air. I agree with that. You told me that the other day, and I was like, I fucking would have done the same thing. I don't think I'd be able to.
I'm I don't want to be like, I'm an empath. Like, it's so millennial, but like I'm sensitive as fuck. And I just don't want to.
Yeah, my gemstone crystals would be fucked up if I was in. Like, that's how I am. I'm a weirdo like that too, though.
Yeah, no way.
But all right. So one of the questions everybody has is this was like one of the most national stories in the world, but it seemed like it was the most private story in the media. Now, doing a little investigation on this, apparently like at the courthouse, there were TVs for people to watch. You could go publicly watch it from anywhere virtually on scene, but
not anywhere. There's
what's that? I'm sorry.
You couldn't watch it just anywhere. You had to go through, you had to wait in line. You had to go through security. Okay. And you had two overflow rooms you could be in. One was on the first floor. One was on the fifth floor. The fifth floor overflow room like sucked. It was like annoying. People like were talking a lot. The first floor room was like more professional, had a better reputation, and like that was That was the floor I always wanted to be on. Once I had to go to 5th floor, and then like finagled myself back down to the 1st floor. COVID protocols got stricter as it went on, so they were like only 3 people to a bench, and like they started spacing us out more. But it was sometimes competitive to get a seat in the right overflow room.
Yeah. Side note, like you're living in the city with some of the most intense like restrictions. Like, did that, other than like these kind of things, like did they try to use that in any way possible to keep people from hearing this story?
No, and I think it was interesting, and no one really spoke about it because I think we didn't want to ruin it for ourselves, but they did not check anyone's vaccination cards ever. When you got there in the morning and you're waiting in line, you would scan your phone to like its like PR code, and it was like, do you have COVID? No. Have you been exposed to COVID? No. Are you sneezing or coughing? No. Okay, welcome in. And it's like, wait a second, aren't you like giving us like mask mandates and vaccine mandates? But like for here,
people like mad at you guys for how intense like you're putting restrictions on this, and that's the restrictions. Like I use a QR code.
But like I'm not like I'm vaccinated. I'm not boosted. I will not be boosted. I will not be boosting myself, but I am vaccinated. And but whatever. It was just like a little bit.
No, that's like a big thing in our world too. Like, are you vaxxed? Like, we have a lot of doubters of vaxes, and like, I mean, Carm's a PA, so like, dude, I got home Carm vaxxed me in our own home. Like, that's she was giving it out. Oh, it was so hot, dude. It was so hot. I took my shirt off and shit. Needles. Fuck yeah. I took a picture for Twitter. I pretended it was heroin and shit. Stop. Heroin's not funny. But that being said, I just did want to know if like they use that, because a lot of questions we're getting from people is like, why was this like not like, let's take Kyle Rittenhouse trial that happened virtually right before this. Why was that so public and this one wasn't? I did find the answer today, but I wanted to know if you like wanted to speak some light on that.
It was definitely a conversation that the journalists were having. And I say the term journalist loosely, but we can get into that a little bit later. We kind of didn't want to take the subway, and we kind of didn't want to leave our houses because we didn't want to die of COVID. But it was so obvious, and it is so obvious of why this wouldn't be super public. It's because like the biggest names in our modern politics and business are pedophiles. Like Jeffrey Epstein is associated with Victoria's Secret. All of our prepubescent vaginas were wearing Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that company made me interested in vagina. Like low-key. Like that's it made
what their job was.
I like what they're doing here. And then I was like,
professionals.
And they're like, yo, young vagina. Like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of answers the question of why it wasn't in the media. I did find out why it wasn't publicly documented, and it's because federal crimes, unlike the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, there is a ban or a bar on public broadcasts of it. So like you can have people there, you could have the media in there, but the court case itself in a federal trial isn't allowed to be nationally televised. I found that.
It's like whatever works best for them, but it's fucked up because, you know, back in the day, like when they made courts, like when our country was first established, it was for the public can come. And that's why everyone without a press pass was able to go. But it's like they put details in when it's most convenient for them. The most high profile crimes, it's not convenient for them to reveal all their secrets. They don't want the masses to really understand what goes on. Although I do think that Judge Nathan ended up being way more cool and fair and normal than any of us thought she was going to be. Like she doesn't actually eat children in the basements, you know, kind of shit. But
that's on the record, everybody.
That's on the record.
Mark that down.
Yeah, I just feel like they need to be making some amendments in the future because there are people from Florida and people from LA who flew in for this trial, and it's like so cool of them to give a fuck, but like they should have been able to stay home. If like the media should be able to the public should be able to consume information without having to claw for it. And what we had to do during COVID, riding the subway to get there at 5 a.m. every day to wait in line was clawing for it.
And like why I actually and I texted you this in real time. I was like, you were legit and like it was cool because you were literally fucking there. Yeah. Like you were the only person I was hearing this from. And like when I say like I'm uneducated on this topic, it's solely because like it wasn't being consumed anywhere. Like it wasn't being actually presented anywhere really. Like you were like at the end of every day coming and doing an Instagram video for people to see.
Yeah, I
Fox
appreciate
fucking News, NBC, they weren't doing like so. Like, what was the vibe around everybody in there? Were you guys all like, "What's going on here? Let's make sure we're getting this out there," or are you guys kind of more or less like being fucking like watched and your cell phones are being taken? And was it like that?
Oh yeah, there was absolutely no cell phones allowed, and that's common, and I get
Well,
it.
that I understand. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, but it was like it's easy to say that it was like OG journalists versus social media, like Twitter, podcast, Patreon, Instagram versus like ABC, NBC. And then there was like some in the middle, like millennials who work for big media were kind of in the middle. But like I made enemies. Like I legit like the ABC News team fucking hates me. I heard like through other people that they referred to me as, why can't that girl let the rest of us do our jobs? I'm like,
that's
my
good.
Instagram with 2,000 followers, I can see my reach and my insights behind like, and I'm getting more views than fucking ABC News. So shut the fuck up.
With 2,000 followers, like this is like the classic, like, what are we doing, America?
Well, that's the people who follow me, but like the people who are looking at my stuff and listening, the numbers are much higher than my followers.
And that's what I kind of meant by this. Like, why was it that, and it was blatantly obvious, like only those social media and new media were the ones getting the what like could be or couldn't be the truth out, like depending on who it was or what it was, blah blah blah. But like they were it seems like they're the only fucking ones caring. Like it was like this should be fucking plastered everywhere. Like
the people involved, the men involved own everything. Like and that's not like a hyperbole. That's not like a conspiracy theory, Reddit, incel, like just saying some shit. Like literally the men involved are former presidents. It's Bill Gates who's telling everyone to get a fucking vaccine. It's people who own Victoria's Secret. It's people who run this country. It's people who like run like law, like universities. Like it's people who have dinner with the people who run ABC.
Prince of fucking England. So like
the Prince of England. I mean, literally every like. Of course, the big names can't talk about what really is going on because it's their boss's best friend or it's their bosses themselves. And it was a great moment for small media, for digital new age social media to be like, you know what, you guys aren't doing your job. Because also, by the way, mainstream media has had years to correctly break this case.
Yeah.
This case didn't just come out. Like this shit's been whispered about for a long time. So like all you assholes had the chance to tell the truth and you chose not to. So don't call me any fucking names. Just step aside and let me do what you should have done years ago.
Yo, that was the one thing when I watched that Netflix documentary. Because that was, I would say, like, and I don't give a fuck about politics or party or any of that shit. I love laughing at it. That was, I would say, a pretty one-sided, biased, like, opinion. But it was also like, okay, so you're telling me all this shit was happening for all these years ago and all this shit happened. It's like, why are we reporting on it fucking now if we even are reporting on it? Because this documentary seems fucking rigged to begin with. You know, it's like, and that was like the first time something actually came out kind of diving into it, like full page media, you know? So let's do this. Let's
just become trendy and cool to be nice to women. Like the 90s.
I mean, that's my strategy in like with women my whole life. It's like, oh shit, I grew up with 3 women in my house. I learned, yo, how about this? How about you just be fucking nice to them? Like, yo, new age.
Every woman in the 90s, like if you weren't anorexic or sexually assaulted, then you weren't.
Or had like, big fake tits, like New York.
I'm saying women were abused in the 90s in more ways than any of us can imagine.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because like that was the time of like a peak. Where like
peak pop culture.
So that, exactly.
White trash. Yeah.
I would say that's like, even though society may be teeming at times like that, that's where things like this are born. Like born because oversights happen so quickly because everything's going good. And that's why kind of like, I think this country right now is going through so much fucking like this kind of thing and like Harvey Weinstein, because like, yo, shit isn't good right now and people are starting to look fucking why. And every time we fucking look, it's like, holy shit, he did it? The guy all the way fucking up there? And like, that's why I like the little fucking media, because they don't give a fuck about their boss because they don't have one. like
I can't tell you how many enemies I've made in mainstream media. And every single time someone else from mainstream media doesn't fucking like me, I'm like, you're so basic. Not liking me is the most obvious thing you could fucking do.
That's what I mean. It's, we like, I came into this whole world because of a show of a guy who like got fired from mainstream media and was like, fuck you, I'm gonna do it myself. And then Barstool, who was the same way, like they used to be like not mainstream media fighting mainstream media, and he gets hired by them. And like all of us are all about like pointing out mainstream media inconsistencies and blah blah blah. And it's still like, but we still turn on Fox News every night, mom and dad, and listen to their opinion. Why? Like, why don't y'all watch the fucking Steve Urkel show again?
Right.
What happened to watching fucking Seinfeld instead of throwing the fucking news on for dinner? Like, it's the worst.
But also they need to make the news work for dinner time. Like, I met this amazing, sweet angel genius for NBC News. Her name was Erica. And she was like, I can't say penis on the news. And I was like,
that's the other thing. Fucking let people curse. It's 2022. It's 2022. We're getting like, we're eliminating all the actual bad words. So how about this? Fuck isn't that bad. It actually really helps our psyches.
Also, stop watching TV while you're eating. What are you doing? Just eat your dinner. Watch TV later when your kids are asleep. Or something. I don't know.
Right up. I feel you on that. I 100% feel you on that. TV should be watched on mute during dinner if it's going to be watched, and you can't watch the news on mute. That's my point. Watch a fucking nature documentary, dude. But let's do this. Let's dive into like the case, hardcore like style look at the case because you were there. But I do want to first start like with kind of the over 3,000 or 30,000 foot view of the case. Like the Epstein trial is, I would say, pretty much referred to as this trial. And do you think the disruption of that trial led to the massiveness of this trial? Like, whereas if this Epstein trial happened before this was just going to be like just piling on kind of a thing. Like,
I don't think she would have been arrested if he didn't die.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she wasn't like mentioned. Like, a lot of these victims had made statements. And there were a lot of women that were similar to Elaine in that they helped to traffic other women. Elaine was the most masterful of trafficking, but she wasn't the only one. And I think that she would have been able to live a low-key life if he wasn't dead. I'm not going to say murder. I'm not going to say suicide. I'm not even.
I don't care. It doesn't matter because he wasn't able to serve the justice he was owed, and that is a pure issue of our whole fucking system. You know what I mean? If the people who commit the crimes don't have to pay for the crimes, what's the point of a crime? You know,
what's the point of having law enforcement?
That's what I mean. At that point, we're fucking animals. Like, instead of like Simba and all them motherfuckers, like it would be like the real jungle, and these motherfuckers are just killing everybody.
Well, politicians don't see law enforcement as anything besides their puppets. They're not like, wow, I respect you. Like, they're like, do this or like it's like they're puppets. It's they're bitches. So they're like, well, just take Elaine then, because like Jeffrey.
And that's kind of my thing. Is this just like, yo, the Epstein case should have been this big. And I think it would have like been, because it's easy to fucking point a finger at Epstein, who we can directly say this was involved, like this was. Yeah. Whereas like Maxwell, I mean, the defense took the stance of like, let's look at the falsities of the victims. Let's look at the falsities of the timelines. Let's try and take Ghislaine Maxwell as far away from Jeffrey Epstein as we can, which they originally did. So we live in a country where it's like, if you're a bad person and you work for a worse person, you're still safe. And I have like a huge issue with that because like that's once again just as bad as the people who commit crimes aren't serving the fucking time for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like a 50-50 battle because I think this kind of brings out the truth of the women more because it's like it's a little harder for America to swallow the fact that a woman treated a woman this way, and it's about time we swallow this fucking medicine.
Yes, but she didn't traffic these girls to nobody.
Yeah.
So I'm happy and relieved to hear that she's no longer attempting to keep anyone's name under seal. Because I think it's about time that we stop treating some of these men as like gods when they're not. And I don't really feel like respecting Bill Gates and Bill Clinton and Prince. And like, I don't feel like respecting,
Yeah.
Built up people that don't deserve it. So I'm looking forward to her saying the names. I hope that she still goes to jail forever.
Yeah.
But there were victims were even saying like, I endured abuse from Elaine, but I endured so much more abuse from Jeffrey Epstein. And it's so fucking fucked up that he got out the easy way.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing. He got out the easy way for the people, like say he was murdered by these people.
He was, yeah.
Like they got out the easy way too now.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's still time now. Like I think I don't know if you're ready to talk about the juror that.
Yeah, I have that for like when we get into her trial.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'll wait. Go to
so basically, like I just want to get in like the facts of this case because of what happened beforehand, which was Epstein getting killed in prison by or hung himself in prison due to fear or whatever because of the people who he could affect. Mm-hmm. That all gets thrown on now her shoulders. I think that fear led her to what you just said. She is going to say the names. She is kind of taking this one on the chin because there's nowhere else to turn. And
she struck me as like a very immature person. Like the first few minutes of us being in the overflow room and having live stream of the courtroom, we were all standing close to the TV going, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Is that her in the beige sweater? And I said, there's no way that's her in the beige sweater. The person in the beige sweater is very audacious. Look at the way they're moving around. And it was her being like getting up, getting water, like moving her body. And
she's like making the room all about her still.
Yeah. And as people were like in the courtroom, they're like, she's just so chill. And she like laughs and like she hugs her lawyer and like her energy is really big. It's like she's just like extremely spoiled and very immature. Like think about like the most wealthy personality and how immature. Like Donald Trump is extremely wealthy and very immature. Like Elaine is the same energy. Yeah, like just only spent time on a yacht in St. Barth her whole life. Like has no idea.
Media mogul. She knows exactly how to act in front of the cameras.
She can't be stressed out because she's never had to be stressed out because she's had ideas of security that we can never imagine.
Yeah. So let's get into her case. She was a little background on her. She was basically the best friend / confidant / business manager / fucking best friend. Like a best friend of Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, I heard a story when I was listening to that podcast that, like she was basically the one, like you said, she was the one who he used to make what he desired, the wrong things he desired, easy access.
Yeah.
And basically you said she lived a life of luxury. So I think that's kind of a perfect solution or perfect ingredients to kind of get one of these most brainwashable kind of people.
Yeah, I mean, there were victims who weren't testifying but would come to court just to sit in the overflow room. And they would tell everyone their stories, like in between breaks. And like one victim said that Elaine waited outside her school and would just like pick girls from the school and be like, do you want to come make $200 and give someone a massage?
Yeah. Which to a girl that age, like what I can't speak to that, but it's just like, I don't know.
A very, very poor girl who lives with a single mom, and they're on food stamps, and she sees her mom crying at night because they can't pay rent.
And she comes up and she's like, listen, you're beautiful. I can make you money quick.
I can make you famous. Do you want to be a model? You're so like, oh, you're at this school for acting. I bet you want to be famous and a model. You want to give this guy a massage? Well, he'll give you money and he'll make you famous. And then you go and then you get raped and then you're fucking confused.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and this is kind of where, so this trial had 6 charges, correct?
Yeah.
6 total charges, 5 of which she was guilty, 1 of which she was proven innocent on or not guilty.
Not
correct, guilty. Which was the 4th charge, which dealt with Beth, I believe, the girl who they met at the dog park.
It was Jane, and they met her at summer camp, and they were walking a dog when they met her.
That's what it is. Okay. So look I told you, I'm a very uneducated person, but I'm trying.
I think I was listening.
Get me through this laugh. I swear to God. But this story is what kind of sealed the deal that I think her and Epstein, no matter what the circumstances, are 100% as guilty as each other. And this story, which the oddest part of this story is she wasn't charged for the 4th charge, which was, I believe, trafficking an underage, but she was charged of inciting sexual violence to an underage girl, which was the 1st charge. So they're kind of contradictory, aren't they?
4 of the charges were the same, and then the second 2 charges were the same. And then there's 2 more counts that she's yet to be tried on. And depending on if there's a retrial, she will or not be, but blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So there were 4 victims. And then, so there was a count for each of them for taking them over state lines. And then, so 3 of the 4 she was charged for. The hook for Jane was that Epstein approached her and Elaine was walking a few feet away. And it's just such bullshit. It's insulting to Jane. She got enough charges where you're like, yes, justice was served. But if I were Jane as an individual, as a human being that I saw her to be on the stand and know her to be in real life, to be the one fucking charge that she doesn't get, you're just like, fuck it all. What is truth in this life? And there was one journalist who, God bless her, was in the hallway when Jane came out after her testimony and said Jane just started crying and kind of sat on the floor crying and you're not going to hear that on NBC and ABC. You're only going to hear that because she put that on her fucking Twitter.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing that I want to talk about, this story wise, because it did cause that inconsistency of jurors to contradict themselves, which in our system can cause a mistrial, which is
illegal to be a lying juror. It's illegal.
Exactly. But there can be situations like this where you see that there's a charge that was charged and a charge that wasn't. But if they're this is what lawyers will do. They'll make it so this kind of thing happens, and then they could be mistrial. You guys you have an uncertain juror because they think.
I don't think that you understand what happened with the juror, and that's totally
okay. Cool. So explain me the juror, because that's what I thought this was like. And I don't hold it against a lawyer for being a good lawyer. If she has the best lawyer in the world and he got her out, I'm not going to hold that against that lawyer because that's his job. But I do hold that against the court, because
right. Just wait, just ready. Okay, so here's what happened. So the day after the verdict was read, every fucking journalist was tweeting and Instagramming, "Hey jurors, you want to give me your first story? DM me." And this journalist, she's such a sweet, amazing, intelligent, compassionate woman. I became friends with her. I'm not I don't have her phone number, but I like her a lot.
In those situations, even though they may only last 3 weeks, you get some real close fucking relationships with people, and then it just is it's gone kind of a thing. But it's you could
really made connections with people who I respect and look forward to seeing them continue to kill the game
kill in the coming. Kill the journalists, kill them all.
Redefine what it is to tell a fucking truth. Yeah. So she got the story, and this juror said to her, I was also sexually assaulted as a child, and that's how I convinced the rest of the jury. And so when everyone saw the headline that this specific journalist, what?
That's a headline.
When this specific journalist said, "Look at my exclusive I got with this juror," everyone was like, "Yay, you got it. You're awesome. Like, we love and support you." And then we're like reading the article and we're like, this man just said that he was sexually assaulted as a child. This seems a little like a bad idea because we're pretty sure that they asked them before they were jurors if they'd been assaulted as children. And then, you know, the day after her article came out, her lawyers were like, we asked every single juror on the questionnaire if they or someone they know had been sexually assaulted. And this man left, like, I don't know if he left it blank or said no, but like what he's saying to the media is not aligned with the answer he gave us. And we don't know exactly what he said, but we know that it's not aligned. So we'll find out in the next few weeks if there's going to be a retrial, but that's where we're at. This juror gave a statement saying that he also was sexually assaulted and that his own assault played a part. So now my cat, when I get on the phone or something, she's like,
that's what mine does. It'll just like be like, I'm gonna chew your fucking cords just because you're not paying attention to me.
She just swatted my antidepressants on the floor, and I'm like, I stopped taking those. You're in a really sad life.
You know I left those back there. You know I left them.
You know I cry a lot.
Oh, you have a problem? What about these?
Okay. So
what were you talking about? Oh, the headline.
This
juror that lied. Yeah, with that they think is gonna lie.
So either he was paid off to be a piece of shit because he works for the Carlyle Group, who is, you know, it's like a big financial group. So obviously they have Epstein, Prince Andrew, Maxwell ties. So either he was paid off to fuck everything up and throw it, or he really was sexually assaulted and forgot he was sexually assaulted until he heard these victims say some powerful shit. And then he was like, oh my God, I'm so moved. Like, we don't know. We don't know like who he is and where he came from. And obviously there's conspiracy theories because with this group of people, we cannot just take surface level as the truth.
Well, especially with the case of this like size, you can't like everyone needs to be fucking finely combed through. Like
finally comb through like lice. Yeah.
Like those lice. I was going to say like those combs you had to use for lice.
I know, baby. I know.
Yeah, I know. I know your hair must have been a disaster if you had to go use
I did have lice twice. I think it was like once.
It was okay because I just got my head shaved. Like as a guy, it's not that hard.
And I know who gave it to me. Her name was Alexis. And when she sat in front of me at Spanish class.
Girl on girl?
It was girl on girl, for sure. Girl on girl crime is always how we go down. That's not why we're here right now having this conversation.
All right. So I think like the value of having you on here is your first person view of like what the media was doing during this whole thing. Did you see any inconsistencies with the jurors? Like you're able to like, you're in the overflow room. Are you seeing inconsistencies or like say, you know, people are talking about this and it's like, why does it seem like that's affecting the case? Like, it's like, are they setting secrets out there? Blah, blah, blah. This juror thing, was that being talked about? Like
the juror thing didn't happen until after. And the jury, like we saw the top of their heads, but like we never saw them
unmasked
in the overflow room. Right. But the journalists who were in the actual room were like, sometimes I actually don't want to say because I don't want to be the reason there's another retrial.
Yeah, that's true. That's fine.
I take it all back. Yeah,
that's fine. That's 100% fine. If I'm on the cover of Fox News tomorrow, my mom's like, "You didn't know anything about the trial."
And like, I thought we had 3 listeners. How did this get out? One was Hillary Clinton. What do you mean?
Yeah, so like I'm real interested in the like facts of like what the mood was for the journalists. Like, were there more people there just trying to get this story out or like see justice, or were there people trying to like just get the exclusive and they didn't give a fuck about these girls? Like, was it a lot of that? Or
for the people who were there for social media, like the kids, that they're not kids, they're our age. They do TrueAnon, the podcast TrueAnon. They were there for the victims. There were a lot of social media heartthrobs, I'll say, that were like really there for the victims. And then there was, I'm going to say this, don't interrupt me. This really like older, like silver fox gentleman that works for ABC News has won Pulitzer Prizes. He's like honestly kind of sexy, like did push-ups when he was bored. And on the last day of the trial, he was speaking to Ghislaine's family lawyer, who wasn't one of the lawyers in this trial, but like a lawyer that went every day. And he was speaking to her for a while. And then he went up and spoke to Ghislaine in person. And Ghislaine smiled. All we knew was that Ghislaine smiled like a silly little girl.
Mhm.
And when he was approached afterward by a third-party journalist, a social media journalist, asking, what did you say to Ghislaine that made her smile after speaking to her lawyer for so long? And this ABC journalist said, please don't mistake my silence for disrespect. And like a lot of other people asked him all day, like, what did you say? And he wouldn't say. And it's like, you obviously just asked her for the first interview with ABC News before the verdict even came out, because we weren't sure how it was going to go, because the jury kept asking for testimony from like pro-Ghislaine people and pro-Ghislaine witnesses that we all thought she was about to be found not guilty. And this ABC journalist like approached her like she wasn't a horrible monster and was like, hey girl, like, what are you up to? Do you want to chat later? It's like, you just humanized her so you can get a payday and another Pulitzer Prize. Fuck you. Just hate her. Just fucking hate her.
Now, you don't see it like I would see respect in the fact that, I don't care what you have to do to get that interview if you have to do that. But the interview itself better be a fucking bloodbath then. Like this better be.
Amen. If you want to, if you
if
get
you
that
want
story, because she wasn't going to come on my Instagram live feed. We know that. And that's totally fine, Elaine. But like, if ABC News is going to be like, we totally believe you. You're such a victim yourself. Oh my God. And like, your cashmere sweaters every day. Gorgeous. Where'd you get them? Like, that's fucked. We don't know what he said. We don't know what he said.
Giggle though.
What?
They said it made a giggle though.
Made her giggle. Made her get. Why are you making this monster giggle?
Yeah.
Also, your intern said that I'm not a real journalist, so now I fucking hate all of you. ABC News.
Oh damn.
Hate you, bitch.
I have one of these. I'm gonna hit it too.
Yeah, that's it. I feel.
All right, so the verdict comes out that she's guilty of 5 of the 6 cases, or 5 of the 6 charges.
Yeah.
What is like the vibe in the room? Like, are people like, oh, thank God, or are they pissed that it was only?
We're so grateful. So, like, I'll give you the vibe. So, I had COVID, which I didn't say out loud publicly because I didn't want anyone to get canceled or anything. I didn't want a few of us had COVID. We just didn't tell anyone, right?
Yeah.
And so I miss a lot of the jury deliberations, like the days and days of sitting around doing nothing in the courtroom waiting for the jury. So the last 2 days I make it. And it was 5:00 and we go back we're in the hallway all day, just shooting the shit, like reading magazines, talking to each other, making best friends, like summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
We go back in the courtroom and we think that the judge is going to say, we're all dismissed for the day. And the judge goes, we have a verdict. And there's these 2 fucking tourists who were like, we just came to New York for like the first time. We're going to a Broadway play at 7, but we just like stopped by here first. And my friend Marlon was like, Bree, don't say anything to them. And I was like, no, you know me. I can't not say anything. And I turn around and I go, we've been here for a month, waking up at 5 a.m. Shut the fuck up right now. Because they're like bugging. Like they've never been to New York City before. All of a sudden they're in the Supreme Court, the Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein trial, and there's a verdict. They think that they just like snorted a 4-leaf clover. Like they're high on it. And so the tension, like we're all shaking. Everyone that's been there every day is like shaking. And we are worried because we think that she might be found innocent because the jury kept asking to review testimony from pro-Ghislaine witnesses. And oftentimes, as we see on TV and in movies and other cases, when the judge reads the counts back, she reads the full count and then says guilty, not guilty, innocent. This judge did not read the full count. She goes, count 1, guilty. Count 2, not guilty, count 3, guilty, count 4, guilty, count 5, guilty, count 6, guilty. So it happened really fast.
Yeah.
Like we thought it was going to take like 10, 15 minutes to get through all. It happened really fast. And we're all like, no one can say, oh my God, because we all want to listen. Like you can hear a pin drop, but also like, no way, right?
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, are we getting drinks right now? Or like what goes on outside?
Yeah. That's kind of what I want to know. Like, what's that vibe?
We went to drinks a few hours later, but like, so we're like, are we getting drinks? Are we going, like, what goes on? And we're like, well, let's go outside first and see what's going on. We go outside. It's like cameras everywhere, like barricades, and like just there's a million documentaries filming the whole time since day one, like lights, camera, action, Holly weird going on. And so we all stay for like another maybe like 30 or 45 minutes, wait for the lawyers to come out and like give their statements. And the prosecution did not come out, but the defense came out and said like, we're disappointed and we're filing an appeal. And we're like, fuck, blow me, right? Like that's not a great thing to say, but like fuck off. And then we're like, all right, let's just like, I guess we're going to drink. So like a bunch of us, not everyone, but like a bunch of us went out and like had dinner and drinks. And I don't even know what we even spoke about that night. We were just like, what did we just experience? And like, we felt so grateful that she was found guilty on so many charges. And then what happened a few days later, just like all of us were like, please, we can't retrial. Like if the story says retrial, then we follow the story. But like, we're fucking tired. Tired. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know. Like what the vibe of the whole thing, like if it was chaos or because there's a lot of people out there that think this was just like covered up. Like there was nothing like, and like a lot that, like I said, a lot of the people's questions were that like, why was this so undocumented in a world where we document fucking everything? And
it's hard for me to understand that it wasn't documented because I didn't check one person's feed. Like when I was covering this trial for that month, I like woke up at 5 a.m., went to court, would go live during lunch, would go home, write my podcast out, make dinner, record the podcast, push it live, post something on Instagram, and then go to fucking bed. Like I didn't check I didn't realize that it wasn't, everywhere.
Yeah. And because like you're in the middle of it at that time. And it's like, how is it possible this isn't everywhere? It's everything of my life. And it's like, I swear to God, like I had to listen to podcasts before this interview to make sure because like usually I could just pick up little facts here and there and like make opinions. But this one, it was just kind of like, well, she's guilty. I don't even know of how many counts. And that's that. It's whatever. There might be a mistrial. And what were we talking about? It's like, wait, we're talking about a woman who like fucking used to get 14-year-olds and finger bang herself in front of them to make them feel more comfortable. Like, can I see her hang in the fucking street, dude? Like, that's what I would be at. Like, I would go get dinner after, like, and eat her fucking flesh, man. Because like that shit.
I would,
I would eat her flesh. Do you want to eat her with me?
I don't know that I want her. I don't want her energy in my body. I just like, I want to know cooking it like will, you know how it's like bacteria will go away when you heat it up. I don't want to be in the same room as her. I don't want to eat her. I want her to find a therapist so she can admit her own abuse that she endured as a child that would somehow rationalize the torment she put other people through. Because hurt people. She didn't have a unicorn and rainbows childhood, or else she wouldn't have done this. So what the fuck happened to you, Elaine, that normalized this behavior?
And like, you can't blame it on society in this case, because guess what? She was high society. So
high society is more disgusting than food stamp society.
Facts. But that's the like part of this whole thing that people believe is what's keeping it from being fucking talked about, because the 5 guys that are in fucking power are directly involved. So like, guess what? It doesn't get talked about, and that's how this country works. And like, I think that's what bothers for now. Except and I think our generation isn't going to do that, because like we're already fucking overly angry about it. Like everything these people have to deal with, all the hate, all the anger, all the fucking is all because of our age people. Like our age people are fucking fed up because we lived in the 90s when life was good, and then we found out like, right now in the middle of a war with the Middle East and all this stuff, the 90s was apparently a big lie. And here are the people who did it. Like, and it's like,
Please do me a favor and don't get me started in the Middle East.
yeah, no, that's the
You
one
don't
thing
mind?
that I'm like, you know what? We've had a long time to talk about that. Let's save that for, the past. Where can people find you? Because I watched your coverage of this shit and I fucking loved it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
My Instagram is Jaggish, JAGGYISH. Same with my podcast. It's
Which
on
I helped
Spotify and Apple.
you start. Shout out me.
I will shout out you. I'm going to restart the podcast in the next few weeks. I won't be Ghislaine focused, but Ghislaine will be, popping in and out. But I just can't focus on pedophile crimes every day. It's just like not a pool I want to swim in every day.
No, I think that's like the other big thing about this. Like, and this I think happens with a lot of people in media. Like they cover something like this for so long. That's just like, actually, that's a question I have for you. What was there anything that like you were able to witness that obviously the national audience didn't get a witness that just like knocked you off your feet? And I understand if you don't want to say some of the things or anything, but like what you would admit, like one of the things that you're just like, this fucking is disgusting, dude.
In terms of like Ghislaine or in terms of like in general?
I would just say from being inside this case, something that you think like the world didn't hear that like is disgusting.
I told like a very abbreviated version of the story that I feel very comfortable sharing the entire version and then some. There was one day that it was morning and it was before the trial started. So we were all in the hallway drinking coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting next to this man and I said, "Hi, who do you work for?" Which everyone asked each other that. And he said, "Financial Times." And I said, "Oh, you must have really loved the testimony from yesterday." And he said, "About the blowjobs?" And I said, "No, about the guy from JP Morgan Chase who like spoke about authorized signatories and family accounts and like transferring money, blah, blah, blah."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh no, I missed that. I wasn't around." You know us, the Fellatio Times. And I said, "Oh, is that your nickname?" And he goes, "No, I made that up." He goes, "I made it up just now." And I was like, "Just now?"
Right there, because that was so like, what, dude? Like, what kind of answer is that?
So then that night, I recorded my podcast, an abbreviated version. I don't say who he actually works for.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he's a big fan of mine and he heard the podcast. And the next day he yelled at me in the hallway in front of everybody else.
So not even the case, the media actually made you the most disturbed.
Yeah. And the ABC News people were like, "Why can't that girl just let us do our jobs?" I'm sorry, because someone told me a blowjob joke at a sexual assault trial and then yelled at me for telling the
like, yeah,
yeah,
that's true. That's fucking true, man. Like, can we once again look at the fucking facts here, everyone? Like,
he goes, "You're not a journalist and you're not an adult."
Jokes. I just made one, and understand that we are at the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. That's all that needs to be said.
Also, I don't know you. Like, I don't know you.
I don't know you.
And you're wearing a wedding ring, and I'm clearly like just like a chill millennial. Like,
yeah,
I don't like, you're not making me horny. You're 4'2". Like, I'm not into you, bro. And
I don't like girls. Like,
what?
Dude, like, how do you know we don't like girls? Like, I don't find blowjob jokes funny because I don't.
Most people think I'm into girls. I'm into everyone.
You do? Do you tell them that? Will you?
It's no one's business.
Couldn't be mine.
Off the record, maybe. But I just like thought that it was weird, and then I thought it was weird to yell at me the next day, and he was like, "You're not a journalist, you're not an adult." And I was like, I couldn't be less sorry for what I posted. And I was like, if you apologize, I will go to security, get my phone out of security, and delete the episode. And he was like, "I'm not apologizing to you. You should apologize to me." And I was like,
oh my God.
I have an Instagram account.
Yeah, dude.
I don't have a boss.
Fucking cares other than you, apparently.
I don't fucking care. I am like, get the fuck out of here.
Honestly, I don't even want to tell this fucking story, bro.
Check your taxes and then do mine. Get the fuck out of my face. That's how I felt.
Tell me how to get a good fucking return on my 401k and fuck off, man.
Yeah. What's his savings? I have student loans.
Yeah, dude. I have a secured credit card for $250, bro. My credit score just peaked 600, bro. What do you have to say about that and blowjobs? Couple, and we'll get out of here after this because I have a show to do at 8:30. Couple listener questions. Do you think she will get this retrial?
I worry that she'll get a retrial, but I'm excited for her newfound anger and her newfound decision to not keep anyone's name sealed. I hope that she goes to jail forever. I hope that she spends her last breath in jail, but I also hope that she takes down all the men involved.
Here's the pickle. I think maybe the guys who are trying to run the whole world would find themselves in a retrial, which we would think is like them trying to get her out of it, would actually fuck them the most, I think, because then she's going to be shooting from the motherfucking hip, bro. She's like, it's fucking Ghislaine, dude. It's fucking Ghislaine. And
okay, we're not making penis jokes.
Yeah, but no, not that. Just a different name.
Got it.
Yeah, different name. And she's going to be acting from the fucking heart. And I want that fucking shit. I want that
shit. Yeah. Yeah. Your boys were not there for you. You thought they were like ride or dies. They pretended they didn't know you. So,
and there's a certain point in this country where guess what? Even the ride or dies that fucking run the country can't help you here. So like I want that kind of fucking justice. Like want
that energy,
man, dude. I want this dude to break your throat and let you live. Like that's the shit I want. So like, I don't know. That's a user question number one. What else do we got? People are asking about pushback for coverage. Were they like Instagram or like anywhere you were posting this? Did you see any like fucked up shit happening? This is more or less tinfoil hat shit.
I mean, like in my DMs and in the comment section, it was just like, what is wrong with you people? Like, at first I liked that I got a lot of followers and listens. And then I was like, some of it just was too demented for me to enjoy. And that's why I've taken the last few weeks kind of off of social media. And
so
not completely, but like, what?
Like you had like trolls or haters, or like you just had like just too much coming in at one time?
Too much coming in, and like people who were like, well, in my experience, I'm like, it's not your experience. People need to stop. Stop making this your story. It's not your story.
Yes.
You want to tell your story?
My story. You tell your story. He's going to tell his story. It's like, you came here for my story, so I don't care about yours. I'm telling mine.
It's just like, let the victims have a moment. They haven't had a moment. They've been really terrified for a very long time. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. It's kind of like, yo, this isn't about you. This is about these girls getting fucking justice. And it's like, if this slips, we have a bigger problem, but let's focus on these fucking girls. Like, that's all I cared about with this fucking thing. But what else do we got? Do you have any questions for me about the trial?
Are you proud of me?
What? Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
I don't know. If there's a retrial, I will be there with bells on. Like, do what you gotta do. Instagram today picked their first 10 creators to move to a paid platform. I hope I get to also move to a paid platform. I did not get a penny for what I did. One person Venmoed me $50, which I really appreciated. But I did all of that out of the goodness of my heart and the craziness in my brain. Like, I want to continue.
Hope that's the way media goes. Like, I pray for this country. That's the way media goes, where these people who are working this hard to actually find the truth is fucking hard to do, because guess what? That's where you get the fucking best truth, and not the NPC guy making giggles with fucking Elaine Maxwell. And like, it sucks, but the only person this really sucks for is the person that's you. That's just like, I have to do this for nothing for the truth. Like, the truth is worth nothing. Like, you get paid nothing for the truth.
I mean, it sucks more for the victims who might have to testify twice. I mean, it's like sucks this hard for them, and then it sucks like this hard for me to have to not get paid. I have other sources of income, but I look forward to social media and third-party journalism no longer being referred to as third-party journalism, because it's kind of derogatory. Like, it's like, this is why Kanye West was like, I'm not a Democrat or Republican, I'm birthday party. Like, this is what he meant.
Oh, I live in a world full of fucking libertarians. It's like, you're just a Republican with an excuse, dude.
What are any of us?
Yeah, what are any of us, dude? I literally, texted Carm the other day and I was like, I'm done with fucking years. She's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I'm like, I'm fucking over them, dude. They're fucking fake as shit. All right, dude. I think this went fucking well. I love you. I think this went very good. I got my questions answered. We will keep watching. If there is a retrial, I will try to keep my people more updated than this. I mean, we're streaming to YouTube, Periscope, fucking Twitch, right? Like there's a bunch of people watching. And I really appreciate this.
Really, can we see our viewers? How many viewers do we have? Do we know?
Right now we have 38. That's just YouTube.
Killing it.
Huh?
Killing it.
Well, yeah, no, that's like, you don't understand. I don't do shows for a lot of people. Like live viewers, 38. You could get
I've been live on Instagram. Oh,
see, that's the other thing. I think if we were able to do Instagram live, Instagram live is fucking powerful, dude.
It is. People are requesting to join. I'm like, this is not for you, babe. It's for me and John. What are you talking about?
One-on-one thing. You don't even know what's about to happen, dude.
You don't even know. I love you very much, and your attention means the world to me.
I love you.
Thank you.
I love you. Remember I drew you that picture
of the chick, and it's what did it say?
It was like a chick next to an
egg, and it was like Bob. I have it somewhere still.
Oh my god, I love you. I thank you so much. We'll keep in touch about this or anything at all. I love you.
Okay, talk soon.
Right, I'm gonna end the show. Don't go away. Stay here.
I won't. Okay, bye.
All right, bye. I love you.
In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories.